Hello, everyone. It's Melanie Moore, and
Jacqui Crooks.
we're here today just to have a quick chat about the upcoming retreat that we've got happening. It's actually the second year that we've done this. It's called the Abundance Rebirth Retreat, and it's taking place at St. Nectan's Glen in Cornwall. Now, if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, hopefully you know who I am. I'm an EFT practitioner, also known as a big vision coach, and I love to help my clients to tap into their big vision. Now, if you've been following me for a while, you probably know who Jacqui is already, but I'll let her introduce herself anyway, just in case she's new to you. So,
Thank you.
Jacqui,
And if you're on my channel, they'll know.
yes, yeah, we should,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm Jacqui Crooks, one of the EFT founding masters, and I specialize in using EFT to clear ancestral patterns, to clear the stuff that we've picked up from the family that isn't ours, all the old outdated beliefs that keep us small, that stop us creating the beliefs and the vision that Melanie's talking about. So, that's what I love doing, helping people to clear what's not theirs, the stuff that gets in their way. So you're
And
free to create what you really want to create.
yeah, I love how you just said that very briefly. I'm an EFT founding master. So, what is an EFT founding master, Jacqui?
Okay, so Gary Craig, who created EFT, created an EFT Masters program, and there are 13 of us in the UK and only 29 in the world. And he created us because he wanted people that he could trust to forward people to work with. It was probably one of the hardest things I ever did to do that back in something like 2005. But it was great. It was right at the beginning of EFT. Um,
Amazing.
yeah, I've just loved being in that journey of EFT as watching it grow into something so powerful from what it started as.
Yeah, so EFT came along a little bit later for me, but I guess it was still fairly early. It's probably about 2009 I first came across it, and I must admit I thought it was quite weird. But and then I trained as a practitioner in 2012, and obviously it's been, a huge part of my life ever since then. And Jacqui and I, we met in, what was it? It was before the pandemic, wasn't it? About 2018, 2019.
Something like that, I think,
Yeah.
yes.
And we've been working and tapping and doing events together ever since.
Delightful having somebody else to share things with.
Absolutely, absolutely. So last year, actually, no, let's rewind back slightly. It was the year before last. I had just gone on a little summer trip and I went down to the West Country, and I actually made a point of visiting St. Nectan's Glen in Cornwall. I had this for a long, I'd heard about this place, I'd seen pictures, but for some reason, there's part of my soul that kept telling me, you need to go there, you need to go there. So I went there on my own. Actually, no, I didn't. I went with a friend, and I, it is just this beautiful place. You can't actually drive there, so you've got to take a beautiful walk to the Glen, which is just stunning. You are immersed in nature, and then when you approach the waterfall itself, it's just so breathtaking, it's gorgeous. And visitors are invited to, to step into the waters and, paddle, or as I felt called to, go full immersion. Actually, it's a full-on forceful waterfall, and you go under it.
Freezing cold, but lovely.
Freezing cold, but amazing, exhilarating. And I had gone to this place with some special intentions to do some of my own healing work, to do some release work, and to set some intentions. And I felt the most extraordinary shift when I was there. And when I came back, I had this idea to do this webinar, and it was one of my most successful and easiest launches I'd ever had. And I really felt that that was something to do with visiting this place. And anyway, while I was there, I thought I would love to bring a group of people here to actually experience the magic of St. Nectan's Glen, but also doing some structured healing work as well. And I couldn't think of anyone other than the amazing Jacqui to be my retreat co-host. So thankfully, Jacqui said yes. And last year, last April, we hosted our first retreat, which will tell you a little bit about what we did last year. And when the retreat was done, we thought, yes, let's do it again. So for the second year, we are doing another retreat. So Jacqui, now last year was actually the first retreat I've ever hosted, but Jacqui, you're seasoned retreat host.
Yeah,
So
I love running retreats because there's just something so uplifting and so supportive about being with a group of like-minded people and working on things, and you find the work that's done is greater than the sum of the parts of people there, because somebody will be working on something and there'll be a ping in your mind and you suddenly realize that that was running in your life and you had no idea. And we're supporting each other. It's a time out of time. It's different to going to a workshop where you go home at the end of the day because you stay in that energy, you stay in that place. And St. Nectan's Glen, of course, you're in a magical surroundings there. So it just is, it's just magical. But so much gets shifted. And it was just lovely last year watching as people stepped into being themselves. As those days went on, you could see people actually growing, standing differently, thinking about themselves differently. And there's been some great things that we've heard since people left, isn't it? Things that have happened to them, things they've created. So for me, just to be able to offer people that time out of time where they can actually really tune into who they are and what's important to them, and then set off in life with that sense of, this is me, this is what I'm aiming to do. It's just so satisfying for me, but it's great for the people who are doing it.
absolutely. And I think what makes St. Nectan's Glen really special is that it's almost its remoteness
Yeah.
from the world. And
No distractions.
no distractions. There was no mobile phone signal, which I initially thought, oh my gosh, this is, what am I going to do? But there is actually, there is a designated place where you do have Wi-Fi signal, but it's just because there was two properties, the one we were staying in, I didn't have a signal. But actually, it's an amazing thing to disconnect yourself from the world like that. And because Cornwall, it's not the easiest place to get to. However, those who are coming on the retreat, we will have our own private little WhatsApp group. So there's lots of lift sharings that happen. People get the train from London together, and maybe in some instances, probably maybe some carpooling as well. But we've got all those all that information covered on the webpage. But if anyone's got any questions about the travel, then I'll be more than happy to answer that. But we'll come to any questions at the end of this. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, as women, because sorry, I just want to make quite clear that this is a women's only retreat, just due to the nature of the shared accommodation space. It is women's only. So as I'm speaking to women and mothers, that as women, we can often feel guilty to step away from our everyday lives. If you've got responsibilities, and this could be even responsibilities and caring for parents and children, which is the kind of the position that I'm in at the moment, you can feel incredibly guilty from stepping away from your life just to focus on yourself. And I know that the first time I did this, because although this is the first time I've hosted a retreat, I've actually been on lots myself, and I love them, absolutely love them. I know that when I started to take time away from myself, it came out of necessity, really, because I was so frazzled. I was so, trying to build a business, raising children, looking after my parents, that there was actually very little time for me on my own. And when you do go on a retreat, you are literally escaping your life so that you can really recharge yourself up again. But I've often said that this is a retreat like no other, because you can go on yoga retreats, you can go on, a wellness retreat, but what's different about this? This is a tapping retreat, and we've called it the Abundance Rebirth Retreat because of I see this as like a rebirth of sorts. Now, last year our theme was around our money story and the abundance rebirth. But this year, I'm bringing in a different theme as well, just about stepping into our most magnificent identity, the identity of ourselves that we have possibly left behind at some point. And for me, this really came about because of the peacocks. I know this sounds a bit daft. There are beautiful peacocks that surround the whole estate at St Nectan's Glen. And peacocks actually used to be and still are a symbol within my business. They represent vision. They also represent stepping into your full glory. But I thought, why not bring some of that peacock element into this year's retreat as well? So Jacqui, tell us a little bit about the transformational element and what we do on day one in terms of rebirthing.
So on day one, I usually do stuff, as I said, on clearing the ancestral stuff that you're carrying, clearing the stuff that's not yours, giving yourself a nice clean place to start with, clearing past life stuff too. And the stuff that you've picked up as a child that you made rules about and carried on living as though those rules are really the rules, because to children trying to make sense of the world, the rules we create are real to us, and often we find we're still running them at 50, 60, 70. And when you can clear those out of the way, then you begin to get that sense of who you are, not who you thought you were or who other people told you were. It's about clearing the labels, and it's labels that other people have given you, but it's also the labels you've created for yourself to try and stay safe. We have that, need to fit in, need to know what's going on, what we need to do in order to be safe, to be loved, to be accepted. And our young selves think, well, if I do that, I'll be safe. So let me hold on to doing that. I'm going to carry on being the good girl. I'm going to be always dutiful. I'm always going to put everybody else's needs before mine. That way they'll love me. I'm sure many people can recognize that one. And actually, it's the other way around. It's when you start to love yourself and recognize yourself and actually allow your peacock energy to shine, then you're spreading that to the people around you. You're sharing the love. Whereas when we're little, we're trying to get the love. And then it gets all tangled up and tied into knots, and we find that things aren't working anymore. And really, this is about a new start. The transformation into, not into a new you, but into the you you've always been, but that you forgot you were.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I love, seeing people remember who they really are.
Yeah.
And allow themselves to believe it, because I've still got people that I work with who in their head knows, yes, I'm a good person, I'm doing the job I came to do, I'm doing a really good job, I'm kind, I'm loving. And then there's the parts that are going, yes, but it's not enough. But yes, you should be doing it. There's always a yes, but going on. When you can clear that, then you can truthfully see who you are and acknowledge it. And then the whole world changes.
It's so exciting.
It is. As you can tell, we love doing this work.
We do. And I'd actually, just by talking to you, I'd forgotten how much I loved it there last year. And yes, of course, as retreat hosts, we get to participate as well. And it's transformative. Every time I go to St Nectan's Glen, I feel a little bit more transformed. And what I love about Jacqui's work is it's essential that we do this healing work, we do this clearing, this ancestral stuff. And as Jacqui touched upon, another exercise that we do is the past life healing. And this is something that I've actually been interested and just absolutely fascinated in for the past decade now. Now, this is not something I talk about a huge amount. It's certainly not a service that I offer, because I feel that to do this work, and and this is just for me, I prefer to do this work in person. I have this horrible fear that if I were to ever do this over Zoom, I might leave somebody stuck in the in the Middle Ages, in their past life as a nun or something. I know that's not actually true, but there's something very powerful and deep about when we do this in person. So yeah, we're not going to be doing just ancestral. We're going to be healing the past. And I remember one of the participants last year, she actually found herself um, as a peasant in the 17th century. And she actually said she realized there was a lot of poverty stories that had been ingrained from her time as a peasant in the 17th century. I mean, just how
Yeah.
amazing is that? So we'll be healing that. And and then we're going to be actually, something new for this year is that we've actually got a retreat photographer coming. A lovely lady, one of my members called Ginny, who she's actually a seasoned retreat host herself. And because of the beauty of this place and because of this whole energy of shining in your peacock radiance, I thought we need a photographer on site to capture some images of us gorgeous retreat goddesses in our glory. And that could be just a beautiful shot somewhere in the grounds, or it could be under the waterfall. And yeah, and that's going to be a real highlight, I think, just to have a really beautiful image that's yours, that to capture this time forever. That's just yours. So that's what we've got. We also have a wonderful cacao ceremony, which was kind of a bit of an afterthought last year, but it was such a beautiful experience, wasn't it,
Well,
Jacqui?
it was lovely. Yes.
And Ginny is actually she's actually a cacao. I don't know her official title. So Ginny, if you're watching this, I'm so sorry. I want to say she's like a grandmaster cacao ceremonial expert. I'm sure that's not the title at all. But it would be wonderful to have Ginny's experience on that part as well. But something lovely we did, which I'm going to be bringing into this one as well, is the way we kind of we spoke aloud our intentions, we stirred the pot together, we chopped the cacao together, and it was really, really magical how we all came together. That for me was actually a real highlight from last year, the cacao ceremony. I really, really loved that.
There was such a sense of togetherness, wasn't there, while we were doing it?
Yes,
Uh,
yes.
We were in a lovely bonded group there.
Mm, yeah. And this year also there will be a bit of a focus on the vision and the future as well.
No speciality.
My jam. um, because, and here's the thing, I think a lot of people, and Jacqui, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. I think a lot of people can get stuck in healing the past, can't they?
Mhm. Yeah. To
Mm,
me, it needs both.
mm,
I think that's why we work well together, because I'll do the past stuff and you do the forward stuff. Um, but it's like if you're only doing the healing of the past, it's like being in a car and you're always in reverse.
mm,
And you clear the stuff and then you're in neutral. But actually, if you want to go anywhere, you have to get into first gear.
yeah.
And to me, the vision stuff is like putting yourself into gear to move forward. Um, so the past has a really important part to play.
Mm,
But if you only ever do the past, you never get to move to where you want to go. And that's the purpose of it all, really, isn't it?
yeah.
To create the life that you want to be living.
And equally, for people who just focus on manifesting and the future, and sometimes you feel like, well, why am I not making headway in moving forwards? It probably is because there is stuff in the past and it's not actually giving yourself the real time to immerse yourself in in that healing, in a safe space with like-minded people who will be there for you, because it can get vulnerable. And something we did on the last retreat was do you remember, Jackie, when we had the fire pit? So the first part we were focusing on what are we letting go of? What so everyone's kind of beginning to write down all things they're releasing. And I feel that the transformation or the kind of the moment within the retreat where it was kind of like the right, we're going to draw the line in the sand now is when, what do we call it? I think we called it the shit pit, didn't we? The shit list.
Yeah.
The shit list, which we then burn in the fire pit. So that was really powerful that we did that. And then, yeah, and then from that point forwards, we focus on what do we want to manifest? What do we want to create? What do we want to be, do, have, experience moving forwards? So, this for me, I think, well, it's all exciting, it's all wonderful, but when we really think about the vision of the identity of the person we want to step into, but also I feel I want to call in this essence of being unapologetically revealing those peacock feathers and becoming this version of you that's always that's always there. But it's like, yeah, I'm ready to step into this new identity now. That for
Yeah.
me, I feel is a different energy of this one. Just maybe because we've done it before, and now now we know what this place is like, and it's like actually we're going to really take advantage of this energy now.
Yeah. Yes. And the waterfall is great for washing away the old stuff.
Oh yes. And we had some people who went in it daily, didn't we?
Yes.
And it really is. And the wonderful thing about the place is we actually have access to it out of hours. So St. Nectan's Glen is actually open to the public. But after hours, I think after 4 p.m. it's closed to the public and it's hours. It's all hours.
And we get first thing in the morning, we get last thing at night, we get
Oh,
stars, dark sky.
yes. And I actually went for a walk one morning myself just to watch the sunrise. I just went on my own. And there's going to be plenty of time for that as well. If you just want to, bring a book or you want to meditate, there's the ground, there's not even the grounds, the estate. It's not even the estate. What is it? The whole place is
Well, there's
just.
woods, there's little hidey holes,
Mm.
there's a crystal shop which people were very keen on.
Yeah, there's a meditation hut. There's a
Yes, that was lovely, that little hut, wasn't it?
Yeah, so people can go off together in little groups. You're going to meet lifelong friends at this retreat. And and yeah, just a real sense of sisterhood
Mm.
and yeah, just really just beautiful.
Yeah.
So I'm sure
Was.
so if anyone's got any questions about the retreat, there will be a link near this video where you can find out more about the retreat. And if you've got any questions at all, do feel free to reach out to myself or Jacqui, and we'll answer any questions you may have. There is an FAQ, frequently asked questions, on the retreat page, just around how to get there and all that kind of stuff. The accommodation is shared. Now, that's one thing I would say now. Obviously, I think most people's preference would be to have their own room, but we have no say on the accommodation, and because of where it is and the remoteness of it, it's shared. But we're setting the intention for you, and that you're gonna have an amazing.
People just bonded with the other people in their rooms, didn't they?
Yeah,
It was just such a supportive thing.
yeah, it is. It's really lovely, and yes, it's going to be wonderful. We can answer any questions you may have, and also we'll be doing a Zoom call beforehand for all the retreat attendees, and just so we can get to know each other beforehand. But Jacqui, I thought we could maybe finish up with a little round of tapping.
Sounds
For,
sensible.
yeah, for anyone who's either thinking about this or for anyone who just is watching this right now, and neither Jacqui or I, we don't script our tapping videos, but I thought I might just begin this round of tapping on maybe just letting go of any guilt you might be feeling around giving yourself permission to do something like this retreat just for you. And then Jacqui, if you could just want to just
Yeah, I'll leap in.
riff with me and nip in with me, and we'll do something together. So I'll just start this off.
Okay.
Even though
Even though
I sometimes feel guilty
I sometimes feel guilty
about my desires
about my desires,
things that I'd like to do just for me,
things I'd like to do just for me,
because it feels a bit selfish.
because it feels a bit selfish.
And I have this inbuilt need
And I have this inbuilt need
to put other people first,
to put other people first,
because I'm a loving, caring kind of a person.
because I'm a loving, caring kind of a person.
But even though I am a loving, kind, and caring person,
Even though I am a loving, kind, and caring person,
I choose to know
I choose to know
that not only is it okay to put myself first,
that not only is it okay to put myself first,
sometimes it's essential
sometimes it's essential
to fill ourselves up,
to fill ourselves up,
to give to ourselves,
to give to ourselves,
to really put on our oxygen mask
to really put on our oxygen mask,
so that we become so we become
so we become
the best versions of ourselves that we can be
the best versions of ourselves that we can be
for the people who need us.
for the people who need us.
And even though this doesn't feel natural,
And even though this doesn't feel natural,
and I feel a bit guilty,
and I feel a bit guilty,
I choose to know that this is so natural.
I choose to know that this is so natural.
And it's okay for me to put myself first,
It's okay for me to put myself first.
because this is an act of self-love.
This is an act of self-love.
And this is essential to my well-being.
It's essential to my well-being.
And I choose to remember this.
And I choose to remember this. And even though there's parts of me going, you can't do that,
there's parts of me going, you can't do that,
because they're working on old strategies
because they're working on old strategies
that were created as survival strategies
that we created as survival strategies
from other people's survival strategies,
from other people's survival strategies,
going back through the generations.
going back through the generations.
Society and religion saying,
Societies and religion saying,
everybody else is more important than you.
everybody else is more important than you.
Their needs are more important than yours.
Their needs are more important than yours.
Be a good girl and do as you're told.
Be a good girl and do as you're told.
And that's come down through the family line,
And that's come down through the family line.
come from society and from various religions.
It's come down from society and other various religions.
And I'm reminding all parts of me,
And I'm reminding all parts of me,
those beliefs were created at a different time,
those beliefs were created at a different time,
usually by men.
usually by men.
And it's okay to recognize
And it's okay to recognize
they're no longer relevant to us here and now.
they're no longer relevant to us here and now.
When I always put everybody else first,
And I always put everybody else first.
there's nothing within me to offer.
There's nothing within me to offer.
This is just about doing the natural thing that we're designed to do.
This is just about doing the natural thing that we are designed to do.
Filling ourselves up,
Filling ourselves up,
recharging our battery,
recharging our battery,
so we can spread the light and the love and the help
so we can spread the light, the love, and the help
wherever it's needed.
wherever it's needed.
When we're depleted,
When we're depleted,
we're no use to anybody,
we're no use to anybody,
including ourselves.
including ourselves.
So maybe this is the time
So maybe this is the time
where, without feeling guilty,
where, without feeling guilty,
without judging myself,
without judging myself,
I open myself to the opportunities the universe is giving me.
I open myself to the opportunities that the universe is giving me
To be more myself,
to be more myself,
than I've ever been before.
than I have ever been before.
And whether that's on this retreat,
Whether that's on this retreat,
whether it's in other areas of my life,
whether it's other areas of my life,
it's vitally important.
it's vitally important.
The world needs my presence.
The world needs my presence.
It needs me to fill the me-shaped space
It needs me to fill the me-shaped space
in the universe
in the universe
that nobody else can fill.
that nobody else can fill.
And I love and accept all parts of me.
And I love and accept all parts of me.
We've done a great job,
We've done a great job.
and we're doing an even better one now.
We're doing an even better one now. That was lovely. I don't think I've got anything more to add to that.
I think we sort of covered it, didn't we?
Yeah, I think there was one bit where I really got the tingles and I felt the shift in my body was about letting go of the religious and societal beliefs. I got a real whoa
Yeah.
there. And I think, we're going to be covering things like that in the retreat so much because it could be maternal, it could be paternal, it could be the maternal line, it could be the paternal line, it could be generation, it could be stuff that happened to you in the school.
And the other thing I didn't mention, Mel, of course, is wherever your families come from will depend on the survival strategies that your family is running.
Absolutely.
If you're coming from the UK, you'll have survival strategies. If you're Jewish, if you're Muslim, if you're Afro-Caribbean, if you're Asian, wherever your family comes from, there will be survival strategies that were created to try and keep people safe at the time.
Yeah, and we've talked about this before.
Yeah, what it does here and now, it creates, instead of keeping us safe, it creates a cage.
Yeah, I know I've done this in my work with you that, on my mum's side, my ancestral roots go back to China and through my grandparents leaving China during the revolution and coming to Thailand. And there was stuff that happened in my grandparents' marriage, very kind of like abusive violence that was there that I've heard of and I've learnt about. It was all kind of held in me as well. And actually, while I'm here, I highly recommend Jacqui's book.
Thank you.
We'll pop a link to this as well. So, this is a really good place to get started. But yeah, we invite you to come join us on this full immersion. Now, there's just a few spaces left. So
I'm looking forward to seeing who decides to come.
yes, and yeah, absolutely. We know that the perfect people will be there. We're going to attract
Always.
an amazing group. And yeah, we
People
can't
are
wait.
always drawn. There's always a common thread when people come together in a group.
Yeah.
Even if it doesn't appear so at the beginning,
Mm.
it becomes apparent as we work through.
It's going to be wonderful. So, Jacqui, thank you so much for
Thanks,
taking
Mel.
time out of your day and having this chat. And we'll have the details. So it's this April 25th to 28th of April. Any questions, get in touch with either of us. But we've got a link to the page where we'll tell you all the details about it and hope to meet you in April. Thanks, Jacqui.
Thanks, Mel. See you, everybody.